Audio 1 2. Reconvened at 5:30. So let's move on to item 2.2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Baxter, would you like to lead us in the pledge tonight?
In honor of the 4th of July, let us say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2.3, the land acknowledgement. Long Beach City College acknowledges our presence on the traditional ancestral land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. This land remains unceded territory. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this territory. Long Beach City College honors and respects the Gabrielino Tongva ancestors and their connection to this land. Item 2.4, our African ancestral acknowledgement. We honor the gifts, resilience, and sacrifices of our Black ancestors, particularly those who toiled the land and built the institutions that established this nation's wealth and freedom, despite never being compensated nor fully realizing their own sovereignty. We acknowledge this exploitation of not only labor, but of our common humanity, and through this process are working to repair some of the harms done by public and private actors. Because of their work, we are here and will invest in their descendant of their legacy. That brings us to item 2.5. Madam Secretary, will you please do the roll call?
Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Annette Morton.
Here.
Vivian Malaulu.
Here.
Utawakcho Intek remote.
Here.
Sunny Zia.
Present.
And student trustee Leah Tawa.
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum of the board. Item 2.6 is our mission and vision statements, which are on the agenda, and everyone's free to read those. But it's there for every meeting to remind us why we are here and what we are doing and why. Item 2.7 is the LBCC meeting rules. The Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees adopted these meeting rules to ensure good governance and board meetings efficiency and effectiveness. And the board rules are linked to the agenda, and if you'd like to read those, you can get those there. Next item, 2.8, is the report out on closed session items. We have one item to report out on during this session, agenda item 1.5, and that is the Board of Trustees took action in the closed session to approve a settlement agreement between the district and A&A Ready Mix Concrete. The settlement will result in dismissal of the pending Los Angeles County Superior Court lawsuit, A&A Ready Mix Concrete, filed against the district. District staff is directed and authorized to implement the settlement agreement in accordance with the terms of the settlement agreement. Moving to item 2.9, public comments on agenda items. We have a total of 3 minutes that will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes per subject. And I have one speaker card for agenda items, and that is Lee Rice Epstein. Would you like to come to the podium, please?
Yes, hi, thank you. Good evening, board members. I don't know if there's going to be a clock up there for me to. So I wanted to address the item 2.7 specifically, which is about the board meeting rules. And the reason why I was sort of thinking about this in particular is that the last meeting I was here, reflecting with the board on an experience that my son had had and on trying to find him a suitable instructor in the history department for a world history course. And one thing that I noticed was at the very end when we were rewatching the board, the video of the board, is after various other speakers with various other things to say, despite the fact that the board had said, had made clear that they're not going to respond from the dais, surprisingly to me, with no really notable preface to it, President Ntuk sought the last 30 seconds to try and refute the idea that some of the attitudes among the board members and among the people who've been speaking at the board meetings to be anti-Jewish. Now, I'm not going to say anti-Semitic, and I won't get into why tonight, but I'm happy to educate the board and anyone who's willing to learn about the origins of the term anti-Semitic, which was created as a way of getting rid of Jews without admitting that you are anti-Jewish. So if you don't know, it was a German who came up with the phrase anti-Semitic, right? To single out Jews by hiding behind a term that would give them an ethnic identity. So surprisingly, to best of my knowledge, President Ntuk is not himself Jewish. And I doubt anyone would allow a member of a minority, less than 1% of the global population, well, I doubt you'd allow someone to speak on behalf of what impacts that minority, right? So if you're going to refute something, you might want to also sit and listen and reflect on the experience. And I can say pretty plainly, the Jewish community of Long Beach has expressed amongst itself, here at board meetings, and all over the city, there's a rather blatant anti-Jewish bias. So regarding the board meeting rules, it's actually quite hilarious that board president decides to just go ahead and respond to something from the community in the last 30 seconds of the meeting, hours after we have gone. As if that doesn't really matter. He's just going to refute any accusations. I'll remind you in the last 5 seconds, most people who refute accusations of racism, sexism, sexual assault, they're refuting something they know they are guilty of.
That was our only speaker card, Madam Secretary. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 2.10, reordering of the agenda. Only for the request, do we have any trustees who would like to reorder any items on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to section 3, resolution and recognitions. We have item 3.1, no items. Moving on to section 4, standing reports. We have 5 minutes per report. And item 4.1 will begin with ASB President report from Prince Bass. Is Prince Bass here? No, okay. Moving on to item 4.2, standing report from our student trustee, Pisay Leatawa.
Tala Falava. So for my report this month, I had the opportunity to meet with the Trio Go project coordinator to talk about all the different changes that are happening federally. And I did see that it is also on our agenda item as well. I just had the opportunity to listen to the program and community and all the different students. I got to learn about some of the students who went through the Trio Go project, and some of them are transferring over to UC Berkeley, Cal State Fullerton, and all these different things as well. My main goal for student trustee is to definitely advocate strongly for our students. And with us being a lot of different changes are happening federally. A lot of things will be changing for the students throughout our academic journey here. I did try to meet with the Dreamer service, but I wasn't able to meet with them due to scheduling mishaps. But I do plan on meeting them to talk more about all the different situations with ICE presence in Los Angeles and ways we can better support our students to help them feel safe. But yeah, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 4.3, Academic Senate President Report, Dr. Jeremy Hunt, who is not here today, so we'll be moving on to item 4.4, the Classified Senate Report from Benjamin Chase.
Thank you. Good evening, Viking family. There you go. You see the beginning of our slideshow for tonight. This is from back in May for the classified luncheon at TTC. Just want to highlight Regina Montefiore and Matthew as our outgoing senators that show in that picture. You'll see many of the other folks later on. This was our Leadership Institute for Tomorrow group. There's Tracy, Sharon, Erica, Iris, Ariane, and Trelton Spencer for it. They had a great time the first week of June. This was owed back to Dr. Munoz's open house and birthday celebration that we got to take part in. Thank you again for having that, so that we got to come together, because I actually had a photo with my team that we haven't had in 2 years. So I appreciate that opportunity. Reliving commencement, I'm sure many of you talked about this at the last meeting. We were up in Sacramento, so I just wanted to show some of our love for our commencement day team and the folks that participated in it. And some photos you'll see a little later on for it. I missed G being able to be for my last meeting with him to show the photos for it, but I'm very happy that we got to take the photo together for it. In our lineup row there is we're welcoming everybody onto stage for it, and the pre-setup and the team working together. Wanted to shout out to Cece Sadler here. She's been at every single commencement since 1993 for it, so I just wanted to say that tradition continues for it, and Grace Galvez with her as well. Thank you, Grace. And this is the three amigos. For it. If you know, pretty much everywhere we go for different events, we end up getting in a picture somehow, some way together. So I was very happy that we got to do that on commencement day as well. So thank you, VP Jones and AVB Kirkwood for that. This one, Sonny might remember, this was my favorite moment of the day when little Ozzy came up and was reluctant at first, but then got excited and came and hugged to hold on for the photo. So I was very happy. And I think even Dr. Douglas got to see that happen as well. Yes, this is my truly favorite thing of the day, because this is the whole team that put on for the commencement team and volunteers photo. Thank you to Jerome and Patrick for getting this to me to be able to share out and see everybody. The best part is this is that post-reception photo. We're all looking refreshed and good for it. So I think the early morning commencement time worked well for us and gave us an opportunity to share some time together. Why I wasn't here last week, our whole executive team for the Classified Senate was at the Classified Leadership Institute in Sacramento. You can see us traveling to, from, and returning back. You can see a gift basket in Ashley's hand. She was one of the winners for it. Here's a picture of our whole executive team for it. I'm going to announce some changes coming up in a few minutes, but just want to show that we were there representing the college and got an opportunity to meet with Chancellor Christian and talk about some things. Supporting your team, job shadowing, we did a presentation by Ariane Lee and myself. Also, Dr. McMahon did Everyone's a Mentor, using your superpower, you to support students for it. We had great attendance. Sharon had over 55 people. The room was packed for it. You'll see our team all together here. Our theme for the last year was taking charge for it. Building connection, showing helpfulness, creating awareness, gaining recognition, providing growth, and developing engagement, which we achieved all of those at the event. Dr. Christian, what I'm talking about, this is one of the key things that came out of it. The resolution was passed unanimously to advocate for classified Senate inclusion in Title V. We're excited and hopeful that this will continue and happen at the state level with the support. We got to take a tour of the state capitol. We also attended the state assembly session for the budget trailer bill discussions and votes, critical things. We were actually there during the higher education vote, so it was kind of neat to be able to be part of that. We got to have some time in Old Sacramento, something that most folks probably don't know or do, that it's the state capitol for it. It reminds me a little bit of being at Knott's Berry Farm with the wooden sidewalks, for it. Does anybody know what this reminds you of? This was just a random photo that we got taken. Music thing, think Beatles, Abbey Road for Follow the Leader. And here's a picture of our leader, Assemblymember Josh Lowenthal, Speaker Pro Tempore, during the budget trailer votes for it. So it's a little hazy, but that's because you have to take it behind a screen projection for it. Stand up, the two of you, please, for it. This is the critical part for tonight. The two people that you see before you, you see Brenda Ramos, who is our new executive senator, and Grace Galvez, who's our next executive senator representing for 25-26. And this Friday, we have our first summer concert with the Bugs Bunny at the Symphony. We have 30 classified members and family going to that event. And that concludes my presentation. Also, I guess I should say, tomorrow is our retreat for the Classified Senate. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that report. Now we're moving on to section 5 and the report from Superintendent President Dr. Munoz.
Thank you, Board President for the evening, or Board Chair for the evening, Dr. Morton. Good evening, trustees and campus community. This will be my report for today. I had the opportunity to celebrate many of our graduating members of this past year's President's Ambassadors with a lunch on June 23rd, along with the foundation and public affairs and marketing team. We presented all of our PAs with their scholarship checks. They were an exceptional class, responsible, they were friendly, intelligent, thoughtful student ambassadors. Just to give you some context for where they're headed, 5 graduated and 7 will continue to serve in the role as President's Ambassador for this coming year. And a new group of students will begin training over this summer. We had the opportunity to celebrate the grand opening, ribbon cutting of our Student Parent Hub. This took place on June 25th at TTC. Our new Student Parent Hub is located in room BB 208. This will be a resource for our student parents, including a family-friendly space, access to CalFresh and CalWorks supports, mental health services, and other resources. So I encourage you to stop by and check out the beautiful Parent Student Hub. We also had the opportunity to celebrate our Accelerate students by hosting a reception in the President's office. Just to give you some context, the Accelerate Learning Program was launched in spring of 2024. It was designed to meet the unique needs of adult learners, many of whom are balancing work, education. We implemented an 8-week course format with asynchronous learning and carefully selected exceptional faculty to teach these classes in a cohort model. Success with this cohort has led to growing this program to include 3 additional psychology cohorts, as well as a new communications cohort. I want to share a little bit about the success of this program. The initial cohort has an 86% graduation rate in just 17 months. That is exceptional. And which is well under the standard for our 2-year benchmark, and 100% transfer success. Every graduate from the inaugural cohort successfully transferred to a 4-year institution. So I want to give a special shout out to Dr. Lee Douglas and his team for their hard work on the success of this program. A couple key faculty members I'd love to shout out. Kieran Barr for leading the program, as well as some of the other folks that were involved, our Accelerate counselors, our peer navigators, who also, as well as our faculty, so thank you. I want to celebrate a big win for us. It's not here yet, but the Future E-Building is already winning awards for Best Educational Project Award. So LBCC received the Golden Nugget Award for the Pacific Coast Pacific Coast Builders Conference, PCBC, in the category of Best Educational Project. LBCC received the top award for our Future Student Center building. PCBC honors the best in architectural design, planning, and development. There were 695 entries across 63 categories, and the trophy was presented to LBCC, HPI Architecture, and Cordoba Corporation. And 1865 awards. In recognition of Juneteenth, LBCC hosted the 1865 Awards on June 18th in the spirit of freedom and resilience. There was a full house in attendance, and so congratulations to the award winners, Davion Brantley, 1865 Student Award, Anthony Bryson, 1865 Empowerment Award, and Angelique Francois, 1865 Courageous Leader Award. So congratulations to the award recipients, and this concludes my report.
Wonderful. Thank you for your report, Dr. Munoz. Moving on now to the Section 6, Board of Trustees reports. We have a maximum time of discussion for 25 minutes per item, and we'll start with the Board of Trustee reports. We have 5 minutes per trustee, and we will begin tonight with Trustee Zia.
Sure. Daria, can you pull up the picture, please? So for my segment tonight, I'd like to spotlight our very own Prince Bass. As I promised you, every month I'm going to be selecting a student. Prince is not here tonight, so I get to really sunshine his great accolades. He's our current ASB president, and very, as you've seen, and those of you who know him, very dynamic and visionary student leader whose resolve is deeply rooted in his lived experience growing up in an underprivileged community. He is ambitiously pursuing a double major in film and communications, all while devoting himself to fervent student advocacy and the relentless pursuit of equity and opportunity for all. Beyond his campus leadership, Prince is deeply committed to serving his community. He volunteers regularly in Skid Row and leads his foundation, House of Harmony, which takes a holistic, compassionate approach to ending homelessness and finding loving homes for orphans. At LBCC, he has held several influential leadership roles, including Vice President of Legislative Affairs and President of the NAACP LBCC chapter. Among his proudest accomplishments is registering over 1,000 voters in Long Beach and empowering students through voter education and literacy, a testament to his dedication to uplifting and mobilizing his community. So what's he going to do after graduation? He's going to be determined to carry forward his advocacy, striving to leave behind a lasting legacy of compassion, service, and transformative impact with an unshakable vision for the future. He also plans to pursue higher education, working towards his ultimate dream of building a film studio inspired by the groundbreaking paths of visionary directors whom I love as well, like Tyler Perry and my man, Spike Lee. Prince, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to have you as our ASB president. Thank you so much for representing us, making us proud, doing good work. This is an action shot of him on the campus, taking good care of our students and our staff, and looks like he's feeding one of our own. I think that's Jerome, if I'm not mistaken. I can't tell who that is, but I just wanted to spotlight Prince, and I hope you enjoyed this report. I'm going to continue this, so I welcome students. Please send your stories to me, a little bit about yourself, a picture of yourself, what brought you to Long Beach City College, and what you hope to achieve from your journey here, and what are some of the things that I can support you with, or just writ large as a board. We're here to support and serve you. And that concludes my report, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Trustee Zia. Trustee Baxter.
Yes, good evening. I have a very short report because we've had a very short time between board meetings. So although I've been busy doing exciting board things. But anyway, a couple things I wanted to bring up. First of all, on July 1st, I attended the Lakewood Village Neighborhood Association meeting because I'm the secretary, have to take the minutes. And we had an excellent discussion. We're having a concert on August 24th, and the community is invited. And we will have food trucks, but also giving away popcorn, and have a live band perform, and they performed last year, and they're excellent. And so that's from 4 to 7 p.m., and LBCC will have a table there, as they have in the past, and also student ambassadors. Then on July 7th, I attended a Zoom meeting on how to avoid probate in your business. And this was really very, very informative and very good for me because the man who was an attorney offered free legal service for 45 minutes, and then, of course, you're going to sign up for it with him. But I own a business, and I never thought about if I die, which I don't intend to in the near future, what would happen to my business. And so he gave a whole prescription of like going to the bank, getting that set up, getting things set up within the business. And I thought I did a really good job, but I'm going back to the Small Business Development Center and seeing if they can help me fill in some of the gaps that this man brought up. So I was really glad I went to that. Then today, I attended the Long Beach Rotary Club luncheon, and they had a speaker on Korea. They actually had two speakers on Korea, and it reminded me, both men spoke English, but they don't speak American English, and so they were very difficult to understand. And I just want to bring this up to Dr. Munoz. We used to have classes in perfecting your languages in English, and it was mostly Korean people who learned English in school, but they spoke with an accent, and the accent was so heavy you couldn't understand what they were saying. And that was deleted several years ago, and it might be a good idea to bring that back as a non-credit class on how to speak without an accent. I don't know how you do that because I have an accent and I can't get rid of it. But anyway, just bringing something up for you, give you a job because you don't have enough to do. And then I also wanted to bring up that my friend Margaret Warren mentors two students who are seniors in the Long Beach Unified and are coming to Long Beach City College. So she wanted them to have a tour of the campus. And she called me afterward and praised the president's ambassadors who took them all over campus, the south side of the street and the north side of the street, and every building, and did a wonderful job of explaining about the college and how these two young people are going to have such a good time when they're at Long Beach City College in the fall. So I just want to give a shout out to the president's ambassadors and the marketing office, which oversees the president's ambassadors, and compliment them on the great job. Then I also wanted to bring up tomorrow, I'm going to the Todd Cancer Institute board meeting at 7:30. So I'm so glad the meeting's not going to go that late tonight, hopefully. But the Todd Cancer Board, I love being on the board because they meet every other month. The medical director brings up a success story, and I love, I think, who would want to be an oncologist? Oh, what a depressing job. But he is an oncologist, but what he brings up is people who have survived cancer, especially stage 4 cancer. And it just makes you feel so good that so many things can be done for people, and especially if they have the right attitude and are willing to follow directions, they can survive. And so he's brought up every other month a success story, and I think that's really important for us to focus on success rather than on negative things. And that's one thing about cancer. They say having the right attitude is very, very important. So that concludes my report. 20 seconds. I know, I have 20 seconds left.
Excellent. Thank you, Trustee Baxter. Trustee Malulu.
Thank you, Vice President Dr. Morton. I don't have a report this month. It's only been 2 weeks since our last meeting. I would like to offer some words of encouragement. Even though summer is considered a quieter season for many of us, the work of education never truly stops. Somewhere right now is a faculty member or staff member working and planning toward the upcoming academic school year. Our team, and that's what we are, continue to collaborate. We continue to support one another, serve our students, those enrolled in summer session, and we are dedicated to making sure that their success continues, regardless of what month it is or the headlines. In the midst of the troubling news around the world and in this country, it's reassuring to know that here at Long Beach City College, we remain committed to doing good work and to taking care of each other. And sometimes what we do is not front and center. It doesn't get a lot of publicity because a lot of the work that we do is in the background, kind of the work that you don't see publicly. You see the meeting, you see the public events, but you don't see the work when people are rolling up their sleeves and spending hours cranking out proposals that started with ideas or conversations, or cranking out, something that goes into our accreditation or our strategic plan. I'd like to encourage all of you during the summer months to carry that spirit of purpose and unity throughout the summer and into the new academic year, to enjoy the rest of your time off. I know I am. I have 1 month before I start fall. I finished spring and summer session, and I still have a 4.0, Dr. Munoz, barely, but I made it. But enjoy the downtime, because when the school starts back up again, we go full steam ahead. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you, Trustee Malulu. And Board President Ntuk, do you have a board report?
Hey, everybody, if you can hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I do not have a board report this month. Thanks.
Thank you, Board President Ntuk. My report is very short since it was a quick time between the last meeting. I had the opportunity of attending the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce annual gala, where they went over their annual accomplishments, as well as welcoming the new board of their executive board. That was wonderful to see. And on the following weekend, I had the opportunity to attend the LGBTQ Center's Black and White Gala, where they again represented their community and uplifted all of their accomplishments and supported everything that they've done over the past year. That was a wonderful experience to see. And then finally had the opportunity last night to attend the swearing-in ceremony for Lakewood Mayor Cassandra Chase, who is the 22nd mayor of the city of Lakewood. She's the 7th woman who is holding that seat, and she is the first Black woman and Black person to hold the seat and serve as mayor. So that was a wonderful, wonderful, very well-attended experience, and we look forward to all of the inspiring and great things that will be coming during her term. And that concludes my board report for the evening. And now we'll move on to item 6.2, the executive summary of the legislation and policy update. It is a link connected in our agenda for the full report. And this is an action item that the Board of Trustees must approve all bills that are listed as recommended and support in the legislative executive summary memo as submitted. This will require a motion and a second.
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Baxter,
Second.
second by Trustee Zia. Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, call for a vote. Madam Secretary, will you do the roll call vote, please?
Student trustee Leatawa. Aye. Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak-Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Thank you. So we have are there any abstentions or oppositions? Hearing none, we have the vote carries, and the motion is, the recommendation action is approved for the approval of the monthly legislative report. Moving on to Section 7, presentation. 7.1, we have no items this evening. Moving right along to Section 8, the consent agenda. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately if a member of the Board of Trustees so requests. Do we have any requests to move an item from consent?
Vice President Morton,
Yes, pardon?
can Vice President Morton, can you pull item 8.8?
Item 8.8, removed. Any other items to be removed? All right. This is where we will now go to all items listed under the consent agenda may be acted upon by one motion to approve. The board approves the consent agenda item. The recommendation action is the board approves the consent agenda as submitted, with the exception of item 8.8, which has been requested by Board President Ntuk to be pulled. I'll need a motion and a second.
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Zia. Second by Trustee Malauulu. Any discussions? No discussion. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call vote for all items with the exception of item 8.8?
Student trustee Leah Tawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak-Joe Ntuk. Uduak-Joe Ntuk.
Sorry, aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Yeah. Are there any oppositions or abstentions for this portion? Hearing none, vote carries, and the item is approved with the exception of item 8.8. Moving to consent item 8.8, which is contract amendment, contract number 990275 for Selmas Law Group and contract number 99804.7. I'll need a motion and a second for this item.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Zia,
Second.
second by Student Trustee Leatawa. Any discussion?
Dr. Morton?
Yes. Trustee, Board President Ntuk?
Hey, just for the record, I'm abstaining from this item due to the Political Reform Act, as I have a financial conflict of interest on this agenda item 8.8, as well as approval of a contract with a government entity that also is an employer of mine.
Thank you, Board President Ntuk. Do we have any other discussion on this item? Okay. Board Secretary, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Student trustee Leah Tawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
I have abstained for Uduak-Joe Ntuk and Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Thank you. Hearing that there are all ayes with one abstention, the motion carries and is approved. Moving on to item 9, Human Resources. Before we begin this section, item 9.1 is being pulled from the agenda as LBCCD has received notice of new grant funding. So moving to item 9.2, new and/or revised board policies and administrative procedures. Chapter 3, General Institution Board Policy number 3050, 3410, 3420, 3435, 3040, 3440. Chapter 7, Human Resources Board Policy 7100, 7110, 7125, 7140, 7150, 7210, 7230, 7240, 7260, 7337, 7343, 7380. We'll have a second reading of Administrative Procedures 3050, 3410, 3420, 3435, 3440, 7100, 7110, 7125, 7140, 7150, 7210, 7230, 7240, 7260, 7337, 7343, 7380. It's informational. And those items include institutional code of conduct, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, discrimination and harassment complaints and investigations, service animals, commitment to diversity, delegation of authority, human resources, verification of eligibility for employment, collective bargaining, employee evaluations, academic employees, classified employees, confidential employees, classified supervisors and managers, fingerprinting, industrial accident and illness leave, and retiree health benefits academic employees. Our recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt the revised board policies, Chapter 3, General Institution Board Policies, numbers that I read previously. But I'll read again. 3050, 304010, 3420, 3435, 3440, Chapter 7, Human Resources, Board Policy 7100, 7110, 7125, 7140, 7150, 7210, 7230, 7240, 7260, 7337, 7343, 7380, which is the second reading, as submitted. I will need a motion and a second from the Board of Trustees, please. Moved by Trustee Malauulu.
Second.
Second by Student Trustee Leotawa. Is there any discussion on any of those items?
I'm sorry, it says informational, so what are we approving?
So this item has both board policies and administrative procedures attached to it. So the board essentially votes on the board policy piece. The administrative procedures aren't approved by the board. They come to you as an information item, but we pair them because the BP and AP correspond to each other.
Okay, perhaps we can elucidate that better for the board policy piece, so that it's an action, because it all looks like it's running together as informational. I'm sorry, that's why I didn't second it. I'm just trying to better understand what we're voting on. That's why I ask. Might that be possible that we clarify it better for the next subsequent sessions?
Certainly. It could be my reading of the items as well. It's my first time reading them, so.
No, you're doing a great job. I think I would read the same thing. It's just not bifurcated as such, but I'll support the motion.
And then to clarify, we have a motion by Trustee Malauulu and a second by Student Trustee Leotawa. Okay. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, can we call for a roll call vote?
Student Trustee Leotawa. Aye. Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Enette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak-Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Do we have any abstentions? Hearing no abstentions, do we have any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries and the action is passed for all of the board policies. Moving on to Section 10, the Academic Senate. Item 10.1, we have no items. Section 11, moving on to Section 11.1, the academic calendar for 2027 and 28 academic year and 2028-2029. The academic calendars for both of those are attached to the board agenda for those who would like to read in detail the item. And the recommended action tonight is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2027 and 2028 and 2028-2029 academic calendars as submitted. Since this is an action item, I will need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Baxter and a second by trustee Zia. Are there any discussion from the trustees? No, hearing none. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call for the vote, please?
Student trustee Leotawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Inet Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. We have no abstentions or opposition. So the action carries. Moving on to section 11.2, new and/or revised board policies and administrative procedures from chapter 4, the academic affairs, board policy 4030 and 4910. We'll have the second reading of administrative procedures of 4030 and 4910, which is informational. So to clarify, we'll be voting on the board policies, and the second reading is of the administrative procedures will be informational. So we have we have academic freedom, generative artificial intelligence in academics, and all of the items for those are linked to the agenda if you want to have more information on those items. The recommended action tonight is that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt the revised board policies, Chapter 4, Academic Affairs, Board Policy 4030 and 4019, and the second reading as submitted. I'll need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We'll have a motion by trustee Baxter, and board president, was that you for a
That
second?
was me, yes.
Okay, and a second by board president Ntuk. Any discussion on these items?
Dr. Morton, I have a question for Dr. Munoz.
Yes, board president Ntuk.
Thank you. Hey, Dr. Munoz, I believe this is the second AI policy you have in academics, which I believe is is this the academic Senate version that relates to the BP 3775 we adopted previously?
Yes, and if you like, I could have Dr. Douglas talk a little bit more detail about this particular policy as it falls under the academic band, which is overseen by the Academic Senate.
Thank you, Dr. Munoz. Yeah, as you stated, this has come through the Academic Senate, through Curriculum Committee, through President's Leadership Council, and we believe it does a good job of balancing the opportunities as well as some of the challenges that we face as it relates to AI. So yes, it's gone through an extensive process and is here now for second reading.
Board president, did that answer your question?
I did. I was just going to ask what's different in this versus the 3775.
Dr. Munoz?
I'll start it off and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Douglas to provide a little bit more context. So the 3735 is a district policy that goes beyond just the impacts of generative AI in the classroom. It can talk about, it goes beyond just the academic portion of the policy. Whereas this particular policy kind of gets into some of the more nuanced pieces that speak specifically to instructional related matters. And I don't know if you want to go in deeper to some of the things that they discussed. And
Sure.
I know Senate President Jerome Hunt is actually at a curriculum training today, so he couldn't be here today to speak specifically on this, but Dr. Douglas should be able to provide more information.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Munoz. As you've said, that's exactly how it's played out for this particular policy. It has things in it such as things that should be in the course syllabus, the instructional component, if there's suspected plagiarism, all the items that faculty have purview over are now included in this particular policy and procedure. Specific to the classroom and instruction.
I guess one last question. I know this came up in a training we did for AI and legal issues. If a student complained that one faculty member allowed them to use AI and another one did not. Does this does that situation continue, or does this create a uniform standard of usability in all classes, or is that part of academic freedom?
Yes, it does speak to usability in all classrooms, but it also speaks specifically to the faculty and what they put in their course syllabus. So that speaks to the individual rights of faculty in their classroom as they're constructing their syllabus and what they require course to course. So each instructor can indeed have their own practices but they have to be established in the course syllabus.
Great. One last question. And the Academic Senate was participating in the administrative procedure development?
Yes, that's correct, as well as the curriculum committee.
Oh, great. Thank you. No more questions for me.
Thank you. Any further questions from the trustees? Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, we have the vote, please.
Student trustee Leotawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Intuck.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Fantastic. The ayes have it. The action passes. We have approved the board policy for the evening. Moving on to Section 12, Administrative and Business Services. Item 12.1, the resolution authorizing conveyance by quitclaim of certain real property. The Long Beach Community College District is correcting title to property currently owned under the name Long Beach Junior College District, Los Angeles. This action is in accordance with the Government Code Section 27281, which provides that deeds or grants conveying any interest in or easement upon real estate to a governmental agency for public purposes cannot be accepted for recordation without the consent of the political body with a resolution of acceptance. All the documents that relate to this item are linked to the agenda for those who would like to have more information. The recommended action tonight is that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 070925B, authorizing the conveyance by quitclaim of certain real property as submitted. Since this is an action item, I'll need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Is there any discussion?
Dr. Morton, I have a question.
President Untuck.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Munoz, just to confirm, the property we're quitclaiming, are these the two campus parcels, or are there some different parcel? I can't tell from the description.
I'm going to have Vice President Jones respond.
These are two campus parcels. We'll see these as we come into more constructions. These are related to the student housing project on Lou Davis and Clark.
This is essentially the parking lot?
That's correct.
Oh, great. Thanks so much. I do a lot of quitclaims with mineral rights and public right-of-way and streets, but I hadn't seen this before. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, may we have the roll call vote?
Student trustee Leotawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Intuck.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Excellent. The ayes have it. The action carries that the quitclaim of certain real property is passed. Item 12.2, new and/or revised board policies, Chapter 3, General Institution Board Policy 3500, 3530, 3570. We'll have the second reading and administrative procedures for 3500, 3530, 3570, which is informational. We'll be voting on campus safety, weapons on campus, no smoking and tobacco-free environment. The recommended action tonight is that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt the revised board policies for Chapter 3, General Institution, Board Policy 3500, 3530, 3570. I'll need a motion and a second from the trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second, I have a motion by Zia and a second by Baxter. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, may we have the roll call vote, please?
Student trustee Leotawa.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Annette Morton.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak-Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. The action carries. And the board policy is adopted. Section 13, Student Services, we have no items. And reports, item 14.1, Board Committee reports. I don't believe we had any committee meetings yet. Okay, no reports for there. Moving on to item 15, Bargaining Unit reports. We have 5 minutes per report, and we'll start with the bargaining president report from Suzanne Engelhardt, LBCCFA. Is Suzanne here tonight? Not here, so we're moving on to item 15.2, AFT bargaining president report from Mark Smith. Is Mark here? Not seeing Mark. We're moving on to item 15.3, CHI bargaining president report from Crystal Huckabee. Is Crystal here? No, Crystal. So we get to move on to public comment on non-agenda items. This is the portion of our agenda where we have public comment on non-agenda items. We have a total of 3 minutes that will be allotted to each speaker, with a maximum of 20 minutes per subject. I have 2 speaker cards here, and we have the first speaker is Sky.
I like the new UI. It's good. I have one thing to say. I'd love to have a conversation with you after this meeting. You said, you'd be willing to teach, and I'm willing to learn. So I would just be curious to see where your argument that if you refute something, it is objectively true comes from. Because if I were to say you're homophobic, you're a racist, you're a misogynist, and you refute that, does that mean it's not true? I don't think so. Doesn't really click to me, but. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Al the Zionist.
Good evening, board members. I'm not just a Zionist, I'm a proud Zionist because I believe that the Jewish people have a right to live in their homeland, the land of Israel, or as it is known in the Bible, the land of Zion. At the last board meeting, Board President Enta concluded the meeting with a proclamation that he rejects all accusation of anti-Semitism. On the surface, that's great, because it's much better than embracing all accusations of anti-Semitism. However, if you paid attention to my speech at the last board meeting, you'd understand that these days such a proclamation is absolutely meaningless because many anti-Semites deny that they are anti-Semites and instead self-identify as anti-Zionists. Of course, being anti-Zionist means supporting the annihilation of the state of Israel and along with it, either the deportation or the murder of 7.5 million Jews who live there. In other words, it's 7.5 million times more racist than being your ordinary run-of-the-mill anti-Semite. Therefore, what we need is less talk and more action. At the last board meeting, 4 clergy members from the anti-Semitic Church of Hamas delivered some very anti-Semitic speeches, complaining that the college condemned the murder of Jews and also complained that the Jews are defending themselves from a second Holocaust. We must never forget, the only difference between the massacre perpetrated by Hamas on October 7th and the Holocaust perpetrated by Nazi Germany is that now the Jews have the ability to defend themselves, an ability that they did not have during the Holocaust. The anti-Semites who call themselves anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic, want to take that ability away from the Jews in order to facilitate Hamas's plans for a second Holocaust. Board President Enta, I therefore urge you to not just to declare that you reject all accusation of anti-Semitism, but to also proudly proclaim that you reject all accusations of anti-Zionism. In fact, I'd be willing to gift you this sign to amplify the message that you stand with Israel. And since this sign is worth less than $50, you do not have to even declare this on your FPPC Form 700. Back in May, I attended the Arab American Caucus meeting during the California Democratic Party State Convention. Former Mayor and Speaker of the State Assembly, Antonio Villaraigosa, a 2026 gubernatorial candidate, addressed the Arab American Caucus. Following his prepared speech, he was asked whether he supports BDS. To my surprise, he point blank and responded with, "No, I support Israel." So Board President Enta, do you have the same cojones that Antonio Villaraigosa exhibited and be willing to say from this dais or from the phone or wherever you are to all the anti-Semites who are watching this that you stand with Israel? In the last few seconds that I have, I'd like to say that this agenda is in violation of California state law. When a board member is not in attendance, their location must be listed.
We are now moving on to item 18, adjournment. So this next scheduled meeting of the Board of Trustees will be a special meeting. The board retreat will be held on July 29th, 2025, and July 30th, 2025 in the evening. The next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on August 6th, 2025, closed session to start at 4:30 and open session at 5:30. And with that, I adjourn my first meeting at 6:35.
That was a record. High five.